Yo, what's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of Think Pieces and Conversations, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go on Spotify. Make sure you go on Apple. Make sure you go on any site, any app that you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe. Think Pieces and Conversations. I just came back from voting. Shout out to me. We just came back from voting. I don't have an applause here, but we're just gonna put the explosion. I just came back from voting. This new place that I went to, it's not my usual voting spot. They changed this particular building, which I'm glad, because in this particular building, it was a lot more room on the inside for people to get inside and vote instead of being outside. You got to realize it's cold now. It's cold outside now. And it got cold pretty fast in Georgia. I must say, it got pretty cold fast. So I was happy for that. You already know who I voted for. But this is not a secret. It just doesn't make sense to me why I would even vote the other side. But that's not the whole point of today's episode. Today's episode is a little special. I've never done this before. I'm going to be reviewing a Piers Morgan episode, Uncensored. Shout out to Piers Morgan. Listen, man, I gotta be honest with you, Piers. I don't know if I could put the uncensored thing next to your name because of what happened with what's the lady's name? Jaguar Wright. And that last episode, and you having to apologize. I don't know if I could call you uncensored no more. We're just gonna call your show Piers Morgan. We're just gonna call it Piers Morgan. I can't really call you uncensored no more, dog. We're gonna review Candace Owens versus Marc Lamont Hill. I'm gonna save my thoughts on Marc Lamont until I hear out what's going on. Let's get this video started with no further ado. Let's get it.
Which is P. Diddy. This seems like every day the scandal gets bigger and worse for him.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I'm not surprised whatsoever. I mean, I think I was on your show before he got arrested, and I brought up what was going on with him, and because I had read through the lawsuit, and it was just one of those things that was unavoidable because there was so much evidence. I mean, there was picture documentation, there was video documentation. And I also want to be clear that the press and the media and the public at large is shocked by what's happening, but we really are just getting to the beginning of everything. There are a lot of people who have been named that have not been brought to heel, people that were above him, music executives, and none of this is shocking, really. I think, yesterday a report came out that showed that faith in the mainstream media is at an all-time low, right? I think something like 65% of Americans no longer trust the mainstream media. The Diddy case is a perfect example. As
The mainstream media is dead. It's completely dead. Everybody's moving to podcasts. Everybody's moving to other forms and other ways to get information. The news is compromised. Your favorite news anchor is compromised. Your favorite talk show host is compromised. If it's not an unsponsored podcast, that if any of these podcasts that you're watching are sponsored by any of these news corporations or a parent company of a news corporation, or they're friends with this one Democrat senator that made tampons in the bathroom legal, if it's something like that, if they're compromised in any way, they are left-leaning. And they're left-leaning, they're very biased, And they're going to lie to you as much as they can in order to get your support, your vote, your money, your tax dollars, your donations, everything to fuel a dark agenda to eventually destroy this country. The country that me and you stay in, born in, raised in. Maybe your parents came here many years ago. Now you're much older. You know what I'm saying? They legally came here to be U.S. citizens. It's just so much that goes into this pot. I want y'all to be careful out there, bro, and really use your eyes and ears. Stop listening to the news, man. Stay up.
As to why that is. You have people that spent so much time defending this man. This man was allowed to be with every presidential candidate. He was allowed to throw parties. He was hailed as a hero. And yet behind the scenes, everyone knew that this is what he was engaged in. This was an open secret in Hollywood. In fact, when Kanye last year said that he was a Fed and started speaking about some of these allegations, he was simply dismissed as crazy. People at the upper echelons of society and politics knew about this, and they were okay with it, fundamentally because he was acting a part. I very much believe what Kanye alleged, that he was acting a part like Jeffrey Epstein, in which he was collecting blackmail over various people that were in Hollywood. And so, like I said, we're at the beginning. We're scratching the surface of this scandal. There are some more big names that are going to have to answer for it. And I think also the silence of certain individuals like LeBron James is quite deafening. A person who claims to care so much about Black life, Black Lives Matter, on the ground, taking a kneel. Okay, that's fine. But now you have a friend of yours who has been on camera beating a Black woman. Okay, you said nothing when that happened. You also know that you have various Black people speaking out about how they were abused by him, and you have said nothing. So I don't like the hypocrisy behind that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I mean, Mark, there are lots of big names being dragged into this. We don't know where the truth lies with that yet. But certainly people like LeBron have been deafening with their silence for the reasons that Candace just articulated. It reminds me a little bit of Epstein in relation to all the apparent taping of videos and pictures and stuff that was allegedly going on. And we'll see what that plays out like in a courtroom. But it also reminds me of Harvey Weinstein in the sense that there you had somebody in the movie industry, as big as P. Diddy, I think the most Oscar-nominated person in the history as a producer in Hollywood, where everyone must have known something about it, right? I mean, I knew that Harvey was a pretty bad bully and all the rest of it. And it must have been more than an open secret amongst a lot of those celebrities and Hollywood crowd.
Did you know about Diddy, Piers?
No, I didn't, no.
Wait a minute.
Well, I didn't know. I met Diddy. I'll tell you, I met Diddy a couple of times. I mean, here's what I was...
I don't know what Marc Lamont Hill is going to say. Exactly, right? But Diddy has been around running the game for a very long time. I want to look at how long was P. Diddy in the music industry. Okay. Okay, it's a lot of things. So I see 30 years. I see he's been his start as an intern at Uptown Records in the late 80s. We're gonna say over 30 years. So Sean Diddy Combs has been in the music industry running around doing whatever he been doing in the dark and the light for 30 plus years. And you trying to tell me that none of y'all knew what was going on? The one thing that you gotta see, man, you gotta be able to just spot out who's quiet, who's not saying nothing, who's saying stuff, how long it took them to say something, the details of what they say when they finally say something. This is a very dark industry. The music industry is extremely dark, okay? These people know. The reason why they ain't say nothing is because they wanted to get into parties. They wanted to get record deals. They ain't want to get blackballed. They wanted to be good with Master. P. Diddy was Massa within the camps of the black people that was entertainers, politicians, and all that. Talk show hosts. They all knew. The thing is, they compromise themselves to the public and the law enforcement if they come out and say, yo, we seen this before and I didn't want to say nothing because I was scared. Imagine you being a big name and you telling these people, yo, I can't say anything. I did not want to say anything, but now I'm going to say something because, oh my God, he's in jail now and I'm a big talk show host and I always wanted to say something, but I can't, now I got the courage. The odds and the imagination of people drawing up narratives in their head about what other people that are big did not want to say something but finally say something, there's going to be a lot more speculation out there. There's a chance of these people getting subpoenaed, brought into court, businesses being in danger. These people are scared to death of the truth. This is why we need the truth back in office. This is why we need the truth back in everything. All right?
The analogy I'm going to make is, I met Diddy twice for about 10 minutes. Harvey I knew a lot better, and I knew there was an unsavory side to him. I didn't know about all the rape stuff that then emerged, but I do believe there must have been a lot of people who did know that stuff, who were around Harvey Weinstein at a close enough level to know that. And I certainly believe with P. Diddy that there were a lot of people that were going to these freak-off parties and so on, who must have known for many, many years that all this stuff was going on. That's the parallel I'm drawing.
No, I understand the parallel you're drawing. The idea that I'm disputing is just the idea that everyone knew, or that
I don't mean everybody. I mean, look, I just think a lot of people must have known.
Of course. We're not in disagreement about a few things. First, everything that Diddy has been accused of is despicable and indefensible, and I hope that he is held accountable in all the ways that are fair and just and reasonable. There are, who knows how many victims? There are lots of allegations. I have no doubt that lots of the allegations are true. And as Candace said, I have no doubt that lots of people have known for a long time. And there are lots of reasons why people didn't come forward. Some of it is good old-fashioned, Hollywood culture, which is people are getting exploited, people are getting hurt, people are getting harmed. But as long as it's the old boys network, we don't care. And Diddy became one of the old boys network. The old boys network isn't just old white men. It also includes powerful, rich black men. Not in the same way, but certainly people like Diddy are in that mix. I don't disagree with that. I'm very uncomfortable throwing LeBron James's name out there as someone who knew something or has some
Well, no, I think,
conspiratorial
to be fair,
reason
but on
for not
that, I
speaking.
think Candace was quite careful how she worded that. She didn't say that he knew. She just said he's been deafening by his silence, which he has. He's been very vocal about a lot of other issues involving the black community in America. Why is he so silent? Just because it happens to be somebody he used to party with. It's just interesting.
It is interesting, but I want to caution the audience not to jump to any conclusions about why LeBron hasn't. Again, let me be very clear. LeBron should speak out about this because something awful happened, and he has a duty. I think all public figures have a duty to speak out against awful, morally atrocious things that happen. I just don't want to leap to a conclusion. I'm not saying Candace did, I'm not saying you did, but I don't want to leap to a conclusion that there's some other sort of reason why he may have done this. The other thing here is
I just remember I just remember.
I just need you to hear.
Okay, yeah,
go ahead, Piers. I'm sorry.
Well, the point I was going to make, just on the point you made.
All I was going to say is. Sorry.
All right.
Okay. There's just a little delay.
Let me go first. Let me go first. The point I was going to make about the point.
You go first.
You just made a really good point, which I want to make a point of, which is I think that the point I would make was when Harvey Weinstein went down, there was an absolute stampede of celebrities in Hollywood who rushed to distance themselves and publicly denounce him. And I've just noticed that with P. Diddy, there's been a very, very, very small number of high-profile black celebrities, including sports stars, entertainers, and so on, who have chosen to do that yet. So there's a marked difference between the way these two scandals have played out in terms of how many high-profile people are prepared to go, this is disgusting.
Well, I think there's another thing.
Piers Morgan is exactly right. He's right on the money. He's right. He hit the nigga right on the head, bro. He said there isn't a lot of y'all that spoke out. Y'all speak out on many other things, but there is powerful people. Y'all spoke out on this guy, this one, that one, this one, that one, but y'all refuse to speak out on Diddy. We just looking at the context clues and the evidence and the history of your actions. You don't speak out. Now, you had your voice, you spoke about this, you spoke about George Floyd, you spoke about this one, you speak about Donald Trump, you speak about this guy, you speak about that. But for some reason, this one guy that you went to parties for, you went to his parties, you hung out with him, drank with him, ate with him, probably done business with him. You don't say a damn thing. The Cassie video comes out with him in the hotel lobby, half naked with a towel around his waist. Guess what you said? Not a damn thing. There was no tweet, a Instagram, a black screen, nothing. That seems very odd. And I'm not just talking about LeBron either.
Thing here, right? Harvey Weinstein was a predator, full stop, right? Diddy is, based on the evidence, a predator, full stop, and some other stuff. And there are a lot of people, based on what I know, people I've spoken to, the stories I've heard, and the rumors I've heard for 20 years now, about Diddy that aren't always about predation. And that's the complicated thing here, right? A lot of the
why does
details,
that make it
a lot of the
complicated?
gossip, a lot of the nastiness. You'll just hear me out. You'll understand.
Okay.
The thing is, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the subtext around Diddy isn't about predation. It's around sexuality, and so a lot of people aren't really outraged, especially in the hip hop community, that Diddy was preying on underage girls allegedly, or that he's beating up Cassie allegedly. Some people are just weirded out that he may have been having sex with dudes, and so there's a multiple things happening here, and so a lot of the people in Hollywood who are being quiet on Diddy, they're not being quiet because they knew he was doing something illegal. Some of them are quiet because they were at the parties, they were at the freak-offs doing freaky stuff. And the freaky stuff isn't illegal, but it can ruin your career in a society that's homophobic. So I'm saying it's a lot of things mixed in.
Okay, Candace, you're raising your hand. I think I know why, but go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I agree with you in some ways. What I would just add is it's without question because they did not know that he was recording them. I mean, when I read through that lawsuit, Rodney made it very clear that he had hidden cameras. And if you are a person like LeBron who says ain't no party like a Diddy party, you've got Ashton Kutcher talking about what happens at Diddy parties stays at Diddy parties. And finally you learn via the press that actually Diddy has been collecting evidence on all of you and you don't know where those tapes are. That will buy your silence for quite some time because you're hoping that if you keep your head low, you're not going to be revealed as one of these people that was engaged in some of these acts.
See, I love smart people. Like, I love smart people. Let me explain blackmail to y'all, if y'all don't know. For the people in the back that are a little slow. C students, D students, F students, it don't matter. You might have not catched all the details. Blackmail is so powerful in Hollywood. It's so powerful in politics. It's so powerful in all these industries that require you to gain power, maybe through underhanded tactics, maybe through dark tactics, maybe through something that people wouldn't normally do on an everyday basis. especially in industries like these with millions of dollars, billions of dollars. A lot of influence in certain sectors is very important. Blackmail is the strongest tactic that these people use. Jeffrey Epstein was the greatest at it. Jeffrey Epstein got some of the most powerful hedge fund people, presidents, politicians, senators to come down to his island. But yo, we're gonna have fun, bro. Don't worry. We're gonna have fun. Don't worry. All right, we're gonna have fun. This is me as Jeffrey Epstein. We're gonna have fun. Don't worry. He takes him to the island, and you see a bunch of girls. Hey, man. How old are those women? Oh, don't worry about it. They about 20 something, 22. Don't worry, man. You take one of these chicks to the room. You do what you do. There's a videotape. I want you to just play this scenario in your head. There's a videotape. There's a camera somewhere in the room. You don't know that there's a camera in the room. You do your thing. You get out. Oh, man. Wow, Jeff, that was dope. Oh, Mr. Senator, that person that you just was in that room with wasn't 20. Actually, she wasn't 18. She was much younger than that. So this is what we're gonna do, man. You're gonna send me XXX. You're gonna get at the next bill to sign. I'm gonna give you one of these bills that I'm gonna need you to sign. You're gonna sign that bill. If you don't sign that bill, we're gonna send this tape to some people. We're gonna do some things to you. Don't worry, all your friends on this island, we got something on them too. So don't try to get together and try to take me out, because I have videotapes on all you guys. That's Jeffrey Epstein. Now imagine that same thing with Diddy. It's the exact same tactic being used on industry execs, artists, superstars, A&Rs, R&B singers, football players, basketball players, everybody in the black entertainment industry. Yo, Diddy, we're gonna give you this power to go. Make sure there's hidden cameras. We're gonna need you to blackmail these people. The artists that already have things on them already know he has the tape. He has the tape. He has the information in his head. Oh, you snitched on me? Bet. You said something on your Twitter? Bet. Be careful. Don't drink that juice. You go to one of these parties, make sure you pouring out your own drink. Matter of fact, bring your own bottle. The best thing you could do, to be honest, don't go to one of these parties, bro. Drink water. Watch your drink. If you actually do get a drink, pour your own drink. Don't go into any of these rooms. Yo, you could go upstairs, man. You could take her upstairs. Don't do that.
Whether they were heterosexual or homosexual, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're just cheating on your wife and you don't want that to get out into the public. Maybe you were, as Cat Williams described it, in one of the rooms. He said you could just walk around the house. He said this on stage years ago, that you could walk around the house and you would see people engaged in various sex acts. And again, Cat Williams was someone who was dismissed as crazy and dismissed as a drug addict. And it turned out that, or it seems that if these allegations are proven to be true, and I believe they are, then he was telling the truth. And I think that is the reason that so many of them are silent, because they were doing things. They thought that they were his friend, that they were bad boys for life, and that he would keep things silent, when in reality he was just another Jeffrey Epstein typed character, and they're scared for their lives. Yeah, especially if you're someone like a LeBron James. And I'm not alleging that he is caught in something terrible, but if he was caught in anything and you're LeBron James and you've made your mark on talking about the ills of society, and you have minted yourself a king, and you're speaking out on the black community, and they find out you're the room over while someone's getting raped potentially, not going to look good.
Well, I just think, look, we don't know, as you say, where the truth lies with this, and we're not inferring anything against LeBron or Ashton Kutcher or anybody else.
Correct.
You know, I had Jaguar Wright on, who made a number of allegations against Beyonce and Jay-Z, which we were not able to independently substantiate, which were vigorously
Which
denied.
was ridiculous that they sent you a cease and desist. Just
Well,
want to say
they
that. I
they
just
just said these allegations are
They
completely
should have sent you a cease and desist.
Well, no, I'll tell you what they
They
sent me. It
should've
wasn't,
sent y'all a cease and
actually, it
desist.
wasn't even that. No, I'll tell you what happened. They just said, look, these allegations are completely untrue, and we will sue you if you don't take them down. We had no way of independently verifying anything she said in relation to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Now, you know, who knows where this scandal goes or what names get.
I need y'all to put your thinking caps on. Please, for all the people that think before they speak. Why did they send Piers Morgan Uncensored a cease and desist letter, and they did not send a cease and desist letter to Jaguar Wright? I want you to put your thinking caps on. They ain't send it to Jaguar Wright. Now I want you to think and do your research. What happens if you do send a cease and desist letter? Piers Morgan didn't know if what she was saying was verified. What if they would have sent that cease and desist letter to Jaguar Wright? Jaguar Wright claims that she knows a thing or two. Say if the cease and desist goes to court, she's actually getting sued for what she said. Now she's gonna have to prove that what she's saying is true or false. From what she's alleging that everything she's saying is true. Now I want you to just think, just imagine this. What if she has evidence of that? What if she can prove it? Of course you don't send a cease and desist letter to Jaguar Wright. That's not smart. You send it to Piers. You send it to Piers because he knows nothing. Right?
Dragged in and in what way. But what it's taught me is you just have to be careful when a story like this breaks, that when we put big names into the scandal, you just don't infer they've done anything wrong yet. The only thing we can say, which is, I think, pertinent to this, comes back to what we said at the start. When people who are as normally vocal as LeBron, who can be as condemnatory as he's been publicly about all manner of issues, when they're completely silent about something as big as this, and you know they were good friends with P. Diddy and were at the parties and so on, you just raise an eyebrow, right? And you would about everybody. And it may well be, what, as Candace says, Mark, it might be a sense of unknown, not knowing what's on tape here, not wanting to get involved at all. I totally understand it. But I do remember, by marked contrast, the number of people in the Weinstein scandal who raced to publicly disown him. And interestingly, with Epstein, that didn't happen with him, because he also had a lot of tapes.
It's interesting. It's an interesting point, Piers. I mean, again, Diddy is very interesting in that for the last 30 years, he has taken pictures and partied and hung out with everyone. Yes, he's hung out with politicians, but I guarantee you a lot of them politicians, I ain't saying all of them, but a lot of them politicians had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. When you go to a Diddy party, there's levels to the Diddy party.
Yeah.
Marc Lamont Hill, how can you guarantee? See, when people talk, you got to listen to the details. How can you guarantee that most of these politicians didn't know what he was doing? How can you guarantee that? I'm pretty sure you don't know all these politicians that he been in these parties with. People like doing absolutes when they talk because their feelings say, this absolutely has to be it. What if what you just said isn't an actual fact? What if it's the complete opposite? Allegedly.
There's the Diddy party at the club. There's the Diddy party at his house. Then there's the after party. Then there's the after party, right? I haven't been to any of those after parties or after parties, or you know what I mean, or any of those parties, in fact. So I'm just speaking as a researcher here and as a journalist. I'm saying that there are levels to them. So there are lots of people who go to the Diddy parties that don't know any of that. But if you find out that all these awful things happen at Diddy parties at 4 a.m., it's hard to go to the media and say, yo, I was at the Diddy party, but I left at 12. Or I was in the Hamptons, but I didn't go to the next location. And so I think a lot of it is fear of public relations. And I think to Candace's point, I don't think it's a coincidence that Diddy has all these strategic alliances with every single person in Hollywood, black or white. And I think Harvey Weinstein didn't have those types of relationships, so it was much easier for people to run from him. And also,
you know the kind of hypocrisy though, Candace, which really gets my goat with this. Take somebody like John Legend, right, who decided to rewrite the lyrics to "Baby It's Cold Outside" because it endorsed sexual misconduct, which obviously was completely preposterous. It's one of the most innocent, flirtatious videos ever made back in the 60s about a beautiful love song. And it was completely misappropriated by Legend.
No, it was rapey. Knock it off.
It's not rapey at all.
Piers.
Baby, it's cold. Do you want to come in for a drink?
Dog, why does he sound like this? Yo, see these type of
misconduct, which obviously was completely preposterous. It's one of the most innocent, flirtatious videos ever made back in the 60s about a beautiful love song. And it was completely misappropriated by Legend.
No, it was rapey. Knock it off.
It's not rapey at all.
Piers.
Baby, it's cold. Do you want
Listen, this guy, Marc Lamont Hill, right? I'm gonna provide some of my opinions on this guy. He's not my type of guy, bro. Like, just as a man, like, I was watching this Joe Budden podcast episode. I probably did a review on it. And this Joe Budden asked him, he said, yo, what is a woman? I'm just going to leave it at that. He's one of those super woke cats that can't answer that. What is a woman? Very simpy guy, too. So, you just put all those categories of a person that would be difficult to answer him, what is a woman, or very simpy, the woman is right, you know, the happy wife, happy life type of guy. That's him. That's the lens that I look at him with everything that he does. I don't watch everything that he does. I actually go out my way to not watch when he's on anything. But I do love Candace Owens. And I do like Piers sometimes, most of the time. So I was like, let me watch this. Let me review it. I don't know about this John Legend song. I don't know. But the way how he reacted, it's a little too forced. It's a very forced reaction. He's part of the Me Too movement. Super feminist, by the way. Extreme feminist. A guy with a mustache, a beard, that's a feminist. I don't respect them guys. It's impossible for me to respect those type of people. Feminism is literally the cancer to society, to the female nature. It's a cancer to it. It has destroyed a lot. And until that cancer is removed, it's going to keep doing its damage.
I come in for a drink? It's cold outside. Do me a favor. And anyway, and even if you
keep saying no, and he keeps trying to get inside.
It was harmless flirtation, which completely misconstrued deliberately by John Legend to tick all the right virtue signaling boxes. But here's my point: what has John Legend said about?
Would you testify to that in court?
What has John Legend said about P. Diddy? He was enraged by a 1950s video of harmless flirtation. So much so he rewrote the lyrics, Candace. But he's not enraged enough by what he's reading about P. Diddy, someone he knows well, to make any comment that I've seen so far.
Right. And that is the reason why people can't stand the Hollywood types, and rightfully so. I mean, John Legend has always been a walking contradiction. He speaks often, oh, yes, the bullying of this cute Christmas song that everybody loves, and I'm still going to play the original lyrics forever. But his wife is sliding into the DMs notoriously of teenagers and telling them they should kill themselves and offering like this small apology, like, I'm really going to take some time off and think about this. So you married a bully. You have been at so many parties, friends with these people. You constantly purport that you're fighting for social justice on every cause. Like I said, the real litmus test was the video, which Diddy owned. That was him beating Cassie on tape. Okay, so forget if you're like, you want to play the card of, well, it's innocent until proven guilty. I know people are making all these allegations.
I need y'all to hear that again.
Fighting for social justice on every cause. Like I said, the real litmus test was the video, which Diddy owned. That was him.
The real litmus test is when the Cassie video came out. I don't know if y'all remember when the Cassie video came out. It was deafening silence. The only person that spoke out because he had to speak out was Joe Budden. Joe Budden has a podcast. Joe Budden gets topics. Either his community is giving him topics. The headlines are so big you can't deny it. And this is a fact. He's been to Diddy parties. Now, I don't know how long he's been there. I don't know if he stayed till 2 a.m., 4 a.m. I don't know. This is all alleged. But what's not alleged is that he been to these parties. But the topic was so big, he had to say something. And I must say this. This is something I want to add to that. He has recorded episodes talking about Diddy after that, and he edited a lot of that shit.
Beating Cassie on tape. Okay, so forget if you're like, you want to play the card of, well, it's innocent until proven guilty. I know people are making all these allegations, but I'm going to wait. Where were you on the topic of Cassie being beat to a pulp on camera and Diddy offering this little meandering apology
let
about
me respond
that?
to that because
I would just like to finish, if you don't mind. You're allowed to. We don't seem like doesn't seem like there's a buzzer here, so I think I can finish my thought. But you know, and that's what has become so problematic is they are constantly virtue signaling to the public about how great they are because they're not voting for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's such an awful person because he maybe cheated on his wife 16, 20, 30 years ago, whatever it is. And they just cannot muster that same energy when they are looking at proof, which somebody comes out and says, has to take full accountability. I did beat her. That's me.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, Mark?
So here's my response, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Candace. Again, there's a sound delay. I thought you had paused. I wasn't trying to be rude. Forgive me. We're saying that John Legend didn't respond to Cassie or to the Diddy parties, and we're saying this as if it's true, but it's not true. And so I just want to read to you what John Legend actually said in response to this, and he said it months and months ago. He said, "I was horrified by the descriptions that I read before the video evidence came out," meaning he believed Cassie even before the video. He then said, "And absolutely, it's something that needs to be brought to light when it happens." He said, "My default stance is to believe women when they make these accusations and to make sure that we do."
He's another one of these cats that do the believe women thing, right? Listen, this is not alleged. There is no hashtag that says believe men. There is really no hashtags that we could lay our back on and use as crutches to gather sympathy for us in any shape or form. There is no believe men. Not saying that we need that. But believe women has been weaponized in such a way that these celebrities say believe women because that's a part of the trend, the agenda. You have to say that. You could have no evidence on such and such guy, famous guy, rich guy, popular guy. You say believe women, she says something about you. You are automatically playing offense. You automatically playing defense. She already got you on the clutches of your heels, stepping back. Because no matter what she alleges, even if there's no evidence, if there's a tidbit of something that could go against you on what she has alleged at you, you could bet your bottom dollar you're going to have a hell of a fight. That's what this guy, these type of guys, Marc Lamont and these guys, even Joe Budden too, but these guys are the believe women, happy wife, happy life crew. I don't associate with those guys. And I take everything they say with a pinch of nasty salt.
Do whatever we can to support women. He also said that he was specifically horrified of this. And then he said, regarding to the other Diddy stuff, he said what he's accused of is shameful. And he said all the other victims that have alleged that he's abused them, it's quite a shame for them too. I really just want accountability and healing. So I think this is an opportunity for us to say this is why we shouldn't jump to judgment. We're on international television castigating John Legend for not doing the very thing that he actually did. Then all I had to do was type John Legend Diddy and it came up first. So you guys owe John Legend an apology if you don't edit this.
Yeah, okay, so here's what I would say to that. It's right that you've pointed that out. My understanding is that were comments he made back in May, not since we've had the raft of charges against Diddy, which is what I'm talking about. So there's been nothing, it's been a deafening wall of silence since the charges. That's what I'm talking about.
We were just talking about Cassie. We specifically just said he didn't say anything about Cassie.
No, I think, look, Candace was talking about Cassie. He clearly did make a statement in referring to that, and that should be acknowledged. So that's fair enough to point that out.
I actually did not see the statement that he made about Cassie and read it in its entirety. So if I missed that, I'm more than happy to own it. I did not see him make a statement, and typically when he makes a statement, it's everywhere. So I guess they just hadn't picked up on what he said about Cassie, and he did great. I'm glad that he's one person in Hollywood who said something, because that was the most troubling for me with LeBron James. I'm like, we actually have video evidence of this. Like, everybody should be saying something about this if you purport to care about women. And him and Chrissy Teigen are typically very loud on topic, his wife especially. So if I missed that and he said something about Cassie, good for John Legend. That makes he and I are on the exact same side on that. But it's not enough that it's just John Legend. Like, there needs to be a lot more people in Hollywood that are speaking out about what's happening.
Let me ask you,
there's
Mark,
a race piece to this too, though. Can we talk about the race piece to this? No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was literally about to ask you about that. So you go ahead, Mark, go on.
Because it's really fascinating here, right? So we're saying Diddy does this awful thing. Again, Diddy, despicable, monster. No defense of Diddy. We're asking all the prominent black people to speak out against it, right? But there is never a call for white people to denounce like, no one says every white guy who's ever met Harvey Weinstein needs to say something.
Yes, there was. Of course there was.
No.
Literally everyone who ever worked with him was asked to condemn it. And most of them rushed to do it.
Piers, I want you to listen to what I said again, because you just disagreed with a point I did not make. I didn't say that everyone in Hollywood was not challenged to address Weinstein. I said there's a race piece to this. And people, by virtue of being black, are asked to denounce Diddy because they're supposed to be representing blackness in the black community. I'm saying that white people, by virtue of their whiteness...
Hang on.
That's exactly what Candace... That's exactly what Candace just said.
I'm talking about
Candace, not you.
I'm not saying every black person has to comment on it because they're black. I'm saying I've been struck by the fact there is a massively smaller number of high-profile black celebrities who have spoken out comparative to what happened when Weinstein went down. So you're right that there is a race element to this, but it's the reverse one. Hang on. Let me finish. It's the reverse point to the one you're making. It actually is skewed against the white guy. He got more of a lambasting from celebrities than the black guy who's done arguably worse stuff.
I wish I had the
I'm
same
not
race
calling
goggles.
for more.
It's amazing, Mark, that you always see a race
I'm
angle
not
here.
calling for.
The reason why I specifically called out LeBron James and these types is because they themselves are wearing the same race goggles. They purport to be the superheroes in the black community that every time there's some sort of a social injustice playing out against a black victim, they use their platforms to speak out about it because they say, oh, it's so unfair that black people are not being believed. It's so unfair. Hashtag George Floyd, hashtag this person. So if you
Listen, Mark, she's got a point. She's got a point, Mark. She's got a point. Yo, you backpedaling now. She got you on defense now. I ain't gonna lie, Mark. Just let her have it. Just let her have it, dog. Just let her
you
have
are
it.
going to assert yourself as a leader when black people make claims before they're proven in court. This might be a good time to do it when you have a man who had so much power in Hollywood and you just have an onslaught of black artists coming out saying that they were victimized by him. It might be a good time to use your platform. I'm calling out the hypocrisy and the double standard of that. If LeBron James had kept his mouth shut on every other issue and said nothing, I wouldn't be like, hey, why is LeBron James being quiet on this issue? I'd say he doesn't typically weigh in on anything. So it wouldn't make sense to put pressure on him to do it. That would be the scenario in which what you are saying would make sense. It's the exact opposite. I'm saying keep the exact same energy that you have had on every other black issue when it comes to your door and it pertains to a friend of yours that you were partying with. I think that's pretty sensible.
Yeah. Mark,
Okay.
where is
do you mind if I respond to that?
Sure.
Because there are 3 points that were made that I'd like to respond to. First thing is, I'm rejecting the narrative that I've introduced race into this conversation. The conversation
You
became
literally
about
said
race,
you wanted to bring race up.
You did.
You literally said, I want to bring race up.
I
You literally
understand
started the
that was in
conversation about
response.
race.
You did it.
All right, I'm going to ask you to allow me to finish a sentence uninterrupted the way you have Candace. Then you can hear why you're actually not correct. Hear what I'm saying. When I said I want to bring race into this, it was in response to the point that Candace had made 5 minutes prior. When you watch this on TV, y'all, or on YouTube, rewind it, and you'll see this. When she said LeBron James has spoken out for the black community, right? And historically, but isn't saying anything here. That was the first time that race was mentioned. My invocation of race was in response to that. And as you conceded just a moment ago, when you disagreed with me, you were saying that you weren't asking all. You were saying that there's a relatively lower response from the black community on this issue than prior issues.
Not black community.
Again,
Now, don't
invocation
misquote
of
me.
race.
Not black community. High-profile celebrity.
Black celebrities.
Black
Fair enough.
community.
Fair enough.
It's a very. It's a much smaller part of the community.
I agree with you, but the fundamental point here is when I said I'm introducing race, it was to respond to a claim that was already racialized around LeBron James 5 to 10 minutes prior. Now, to actually address the issue that I was responding to, because I didn't introduce race into the conversation, the idea here for me is when Harvey Weinstein does something, Hollywood has to respond. When
Hold on. Why is he so not stoic? Like, why is he so emotional? These type of guys with low testosterone, I just don't like them. I don't. He clearly introduced race into the topic. Nobody talked about race, right? Nobody was like, yo, let's highlight race, right? We was like, yo, listen, Harvey Weinstein, a bunch of celebrities came out against him. P. Diddy, a bunch of celebrities did not say anything. LeBron, a bunch of issues happened within the community, or period, he'll say something. He always says something. A video comes out with Cassie, you say nothing. Why not just leave it at that? Why you gotta take it to racism, and why you gotta take it there? Like, it's such a, I really do not like when these so-called black folk that say they support the community, they blindly support a lot of people that comes in the community. They blindly support the toxic hip-hop that goes out onto children's ears. They blindly support it, and then they're quick to get the sympathy card out and use the race card. They're quick to use. They want sympathy, so they want to use the race card. I'm black as well, but I hate that a lot of us, especially in these positions, that he's a news guy. He's one of these media guys, very leftist, super leftist. They always try to, they can't wait to use race and use that to support an argument or corroborate a point. They can't wait to use that. And I must say, I am absolutely tired of it.
Diddy does something, black people have to respond. Now, I happen to believe that as a black person with a public platform, an athlete, an actress, or a journalist, we should respond to the Diddy thing. I don't think that we should ignore our responsibility.
So what are you complaining
black
about?
Communities. I'm okay, but my complaint is that when black people don't do it, we are criticized differently than when the white guy doesn't do it. So
hang on. Mark, I'm sorry, but the idea that people were running around asking random white people in the street about Harvey Weinstein is ridiculous. They're not doing it.
I didn't say that.
And they're not doing it with random black people in the street either.
I didn't say that.
I'm talking.
That's a straw man. That is a straw man.
No, it's not. The straw man argument is you.
Random white people.
No, you are conflating.
I didn't say random white people. I didn't say random white people in the street. I said white people in Hollywood.
Hang on.
I said white people in Hollywood. Not white people in the street.
I understand, but I'm conflating two things.
That's not the same.
I'm conflating.
I know you are.
High-profile black celebrities and high-profile white celebrities and how they responded to Weinstein and to Diddy, and it's been very different. The volume of white celebrities who denounced Weinstein was far higher than it's been with Diddy.
And my response to that is, when Weinstein happens, people didn't say, hey, where are the high-profile white Hollywood celebrities? What they said is, where are the high-profile celebrities? Where are the Hollywood types? They were asking Will Smith as much as they were asking Heidi Klum. When it comes to Diddy, they're only asking for black people.
Well, hang on, Candace, hang on. Again, Mark.
Hang on, I didn't finish the sentence yet. Let me finish the sentence before you disagree with it.
You're wrong.
Piers.
Candace literally mentioned Ashton Kutcher, who last time I checked is a white guy.
I did mention Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher's white.
Yo, like, what's up with dude? Like, objectively, bro. This is nothing against you, Mark. Like, chill, bro. Like, relax. Like, just you know, just relax. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna die. Like, you good. Like, damn. Like, relax. Like, just practice some stoicism. All right, just use the bass in your voice, or try to find some bass in your voice. Like, relax, bro. Just, if you're wrong, just admit that you're wrong. But you obviously don't think that you're wrong, so I'm gonna let you go off. Go off, King.
Okay.
He's white.
Again, I want you to hear what I'm actually saying, and I want you to actually hear what I'm saying and disagree with what I'm saying and not what I'm not saying. The conversation about Harvey Weinstein, and I challenge you to show me any piece of evidence where you called out and said, hey, I'd love to hear from some high-profile white celebrities. You never said white. You just said high-profile celebrities. Maybe to you, Hollywood just means white. But in general, the idea here for Weinstein was, we want his peers to speak out. We want his peers to say something. We want white people, black people, whoever. We just want his peers to say something. But when black people don't do it, it is framed as some kind of specific or unique moral failure, and that's the idea that I'm challenging here. Again, I want everybody to speak out against both of those monsters.
Okay.
But I'm saying let's
the
not
slight
treat
flaw,
one
okay,
differently
but
than the other.
With respect, the slight flaw is that Candace
like
actually said LeBron and Ashton Kutcher, and last time I checked, Ashton Kutcher, and this may not be the case, but I believe he still identifies as a white guy.
Last I checked, you're not Candace Owens. Last I checked, you're not Candace Owens. I'm criticizing you right now, Piers, not Candace Owens. So you can't say, well, Candace said it. You're not a buddy comedy here. I'm critiquing your approach and coverage of this conversation.
Right.
And you can't say, well, Candace said it. I didn't disagree with Candace. I disagree with you on that particular point.
Okay. Okay. Let's take a little beat.
I do want to say.
What are you talking about? Well, Candace said it.
You can't say.
Candace?
I don't think you could say, I would like to introduce race, and then 30 seconds later say I did not introduce race. I mean, the records will show you definitely introduced race. And I brought up LeBron James, and for a very specific reason, because he was quite literally at the parties and because he's used his platform to speak out on Black victimization, not because he was Black. I was pointing out the astounding hypocrisy. I didn't say, let's talk about LeBron James because he's a Black man. I mean, I would have brought up tons of other Black people and said, where are their voices? But it wouldn't have made sense because they don't hang out with him and they don't use their platforms. And I did bring up Ashton Kutcher as well, and very many other celebrities. I'm pretty sure Chrissy Teigen is not Black; she's Asian. So I'm completely confused, completely lost at what point you were trying to make there. I do think that you do tend to see things through the vein of race, because when people are just making a sound point about why it is that there is some interest in LeBron James' silence right now. And I think he should speak out because he had a friendship there and because he purports that he cares so much about Black victimization, and there was a long list of Black victims.
Right, and Mark,
I think it's very sound.
Mark,
you can disagree with it.
Yeah.
Candace,
And Mark, before you respond, Mark,
Candace, I agree with the point that you're making, Candace.
I want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
You've
Go ahead,
also,
Piers.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you said that there wouldn't have been the attention on the raid at Diddy's home, for example, if he'd been a white rapper. To which I would say, if that had been Eminem at the height of his powers...
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I believe you said before, in a previous debate or interview, that there wouldn't have been the same attention that was given to the raid on Diddy's home if it had been a white rapper. To which I would say
that.
You didn't say that?
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
What did you say about that?
You can disagree with that point too, but you wouldn't be disagreeing with me.
Okay.
But feel free to make your Eminem argument.
So apparently on the documentary, well, just to clarify, on the documentary with TMZ, that's what I'm told is where you said that.
It's hard for me to imagine that had this been many other celebrities, particularly.
Yikes. They got clips on him. Listen, man. For characters like this, you gotta keep clips on them. For any Democrat, to be real. Listen, for any Democrat, especially if they're in media, they're gonna do things to conflate their argument, even if it's a complete lie. He probably didn't remember that he said this, but we got video evidence on you, big dog. So if y'all keep talking this race bullshit for too long, I'm just gonna stop the video, and it is what it is. But it's alright, man. You was wrong. It's cool. Like, you ain't gotta do all that.
White celebrities, that their children would have been in handcuffs and they would have been forced to stare down the barrel of guns and seen armored tanks. It just seemed like a lot for a raid of a music producer.
Right, I know the documentary you're referencing. I wish you would have watched it, with all due respect, and then you would know I didn't say that. I'll tell you what I said, though.
Yeah.
What I did say was, not the attention. Diddy is an international superstar. Black, white, red, or yellow, we should be watching Diddy. And there's no reason why race is playing into the why of why we're watching it. That had nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about was the actual nature of the raid. Typically, unless you believe, and this is what I was arguing at the time, unless you believe that Diddy was an armed threat, there was no need to handle his children, who were not at the time charged with anything, in the way that they did. There was no reason to have SWAT, almost like the National Guard, this full military infrastructure, to do this. I think they should. I'm not saying they shouldn't have raided the house. I'm not saying they shouldn't have arrested Diddy. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that what my comparison is, they wouldn't have done that to Mark Cuban. That's my point. But there's now, as more evidence comes out,
hang on. Mark, hang on. On that point, you said they wouldn't have done it to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is a massive celebrity in America. If he had been doing what we now know from this charge sheet against P. Diddy he's accused of doing, damn right they'd have done that to Mark Cuban. These are not like small...
Done what?
These are...
Listen, I'm gonna end this video right here. All right, y'all could go watch this. It's Piers Morgan Uncensored. Diddy has tapes on everyone. Candace Owens versus Lamont Hill. I'm gonna say this, right? For my final thoughts on this. There is too many people even you that's watching this right now, maybe you're one of these people I'm talking about. And I said the same thing earlier. You guys say things in absolutes. He said if this would have happened to Mark Cuban is very popular. Mark Cuban is very much so in the eye of the public. He's very much so a part of the media, been in the media, been in stories, been in all types of things. If this type of scandal would have came out and a video would have came out of Mark Cuban doing something to a woman, if Mark Cuban was allegedly having all these tapes, if Mark Cuban was doing whatever, if he was doing the same exact thing as Diddy, I guarantee this scandal would be everywhere for Mark Cuban, especially now that you can't hide it. We got the video of you beating up your girl. We see this coming. We know this is coming. You're big in media. You're not just a billionaire. You're a personality. It's no way you could just bury something like that when you're that public. He's super public in the media all the time, talking shit about Donald Trump. Let's not speak on absolutes. This was another episode of Think Pieces and Conversations. You go follow the channel, follow the podcast, hit a review, hit a like, submit a review. I'm out of here.